Set in the year 1945, the story revolves around the life of a gangster or mafia family in New York who are immigrants from Italy, specifically from Sicily. The head of the family is Vito Corleone, a don of the criminal family known as the Corleone family. They carry out their actions based on requests from their clients. This is a title of honor that applies in Europe, such as in Italy, Spain, and many other countries. It is specifically for men, while for women, the honorific title is Donna. At the wedding of his only daughter, Don Vito receives several requests from his clients, who happen to be invited to his daughter's party as well. This is significant because Don Vito, who holds the title of Godfather, is still waiting for his youngest son, Michael Corleone, who has not yet arrived. The opening scene of this film serves as a brief introduction to all the members of the Corleone family, and it features many famous quotes from the film. During the family photo session, the Godfather, also known as Don Vito, refuses to take a picture because his family is not yet complete. His youngest son, Michael Corleone, has not arrived. The words that come out of his mouth successfully capture the audience's sympathy. "We will not take a photo without Michael."
We're not taking a picture with Michael.
Now you have an idea of what Don Vito's character is like. Let's introduce the important characters from this close-knit family. His wife is named Carmela Corleone. Honestly, aside from my admiration for the Godfather itself, I am particularly struck by the image of the innocent mother, who seems full of happiness without having to interfere in the dark business dealings of her husband. Vito Corleone's role in this film is not very significant, but the formation of Don Vito's character as a respected and wise man stems from him. Those who have read the novel will know what Carmela's character is like. His eldest son is named Sonny. Unlike his quiet and level-headed father, Sonny is arrogant, hot-tempered, and tends to prefer solving problems with violence. The second son is named Fredo Corleone, or simply Fredo. This character is more gentle and tends to have little influence within the family. The third son, who is also the main character of this film, is Michael Corleone. Michael is a unique character because he chooses to remain ignorant of his father's business. He even prefers to enlist and participate in World War II. Don Vito intentionally does not want to involve his third son in the family business and hopes that Michael will instead enter the world of politics. Michael arrives at this party with his girlfriend, Kay Adams, and introduces her to his family. The only daughter of Vito and Carmela is Connie Corleone. At the beginning of this film, Connie is having a lavish and lively wedding celebration with her partner, who is also Sonny's friend, Carlo Rizzi. Shortly after, a famous singer of that era, Johnny Fontane, arrives. Everyone is intrigued by his presence, as many are fans of his, including the family itself. It turns out that Johnny Fontane is Don Vito's godson, and he has been greatly helped by Don Vito in advancing his career. After singing in front of the bride and all her fans, Johnny is welcomed by Don Vito, who invites him to chat in his office. This is where Johnny asks Don Vito for help to get a role in a famous film project so that his name can rise higher in the entertainment industry. Previously, Johnny had been rejected by the production house handling the film project.
Once you leave off, I'm gonna make him an offer again with you.
Don Vito then orders Tom Hagen to go to Los Angeles to handle Johnny Fontane's issue. Tom Hagen is also Don Vito's godson and has earned the trust to become a consigliere. The consigliere is an important position in the Corleone family business structure, serving as an advisor to the leader and often representing him in important meetings. He can be considered Don Vito's right-hand man. Upon arriving in LA, Tom Hagen finally meets the head of the production house, Jack Woltz. He requests a schedule to give Johnny Fontane a role in the film, but Jack Woltz refuses and explains that Johnny's presence in the entertainment industry at that time has damaged his reputation. That night, Jack Woltz wakes up in his bedroom to find the severed head of a stallion, covered in blood. This is one of the famous methods of problem-solving known as an offer you can't refuse. Ultimately, Johnny Fontane gets his role in the film. Just before Christmas, a crystal flower dealer named Sollozzo offered Don Vito a deal to provide him protection by leveraging Don Vito's strong political connections at that time. Sollozzo was a Turk who owned a crystal flower factory in Sicily and had previously been arrested once in Italy and also in America. He also received support from other mafia families. However, with careful consideration and caution regarding the potential political repercussions of dealing with crystal flower, Don Vito ultimately rejected Sollozzo's offer and refused to get involved in the crystal flower business. Suspecting foul play, Don Vito then sent his enforcer, a hitman named Luca Brasi, to spy on Sollozzo. Luca Brasi had once been hired to kill Don Vito, but instead, Don Vito invited him to Connie's party and even gave him a generous gift, which made Luca respect and admire Don Vito even more. Luca, remembering to wear a bulletproof vest for protection, arrived at a meeting with Bruno Tattaglia and Sollozzo, where he was ultimately killed. Afterward, they kidnapped Tom Hagen. Meanwhile, Don Vito planned to go shopping at the fruit market, but strangely, that night, his personal driver and bodyguard, named Paulie, called in sick.
I'll have to get it myself, Pa. Paulie called in sick this morning.
As a result, Fredo ended up driving Don Vito. Upon arriving at the fruit market, Don Vito was ambushed by a group of armed men who opened fire on him. Fredo, who had no experience with weapons, could only stand in shock and horror as he watched his father collapse after being hit by numerous bullets. The next day, Michael was shocked to see the headline in the newspaper stating that his father was suspected to be dead. He called to confirm the news, which remained unclear as to whether Don Vito had truly passed away. Meanwhile, Sonny received a phone call from Sollozzo, informing him that they had kidnapped Tom Hagen. They did not plan to kill him. Instead, they wanted Sonny to consider a deal that would involve Tom Hagen. Sollozzo informed Tom to reconsider the previous business offer, as Sonny was actually interested in Sollozzo's proposal, believing that Don Vito was dead. Therefore, he asked Tom Hagen to persuade Sonny. Tom Hagen was released shortly afterward, but Sollozzo then received news that Don Vito was, in fact, still alive. This news stressed him out and made it hard for him to believe how Don Vito could have survived such a barrage of gunfire. At a Corleone family meeting, Sonny received a package containing a bulletproof vest, along with 2 dead fish, indicating that Luca Brasi was now dead and rotting, just like the fish. For those who may not know, the significance of the fish being sent to Sonny relates back to where Luca Brasi was killed, likely at the bar where he met with Bruno Tattaglia and Sollozzo. The symbol of the fish was clearly displayed on the glass wall of that restaurant or bar. Meanwhile, Paulie returned to work after his sick leave, but his behavior raised suspicions of acting. Sonny ordered Clemenza to deal with him, as he believed Paulie was involved in the conspiracy to betray and attempt to kill Don Vito.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
Next, Michael met with Kay Adams and told her to stay away for a while, as he did not want her to be involved in his family's problems. They eventually parted ways. Michael then visited his father in the hospital. Upon arriving, he noticed something strange. There were no guards or hospital staff present. Michael suspected an assassination attempt on Don Vito, so he asked a nurse for help in moving his father to another room. He then encountered a baker named Enzo, who wanted to visit Vito, but Michael instructed him to wait outside, as danger could come at any moment. Before we continue, we find a name on the wall of this room: Robert O. Lowry. He was a firefighter who worked in New York in 1946 and received much praise for capturing a man responsible for 30 acts of arson and robbery. He also became a hero for the black community due to his efforts to include black individuals in the firefighting unit in America during that era. Returning to the film, Michael took advantage of the dark night to deceive Sollozzo's men and enter the hospital. He disguised Enzo to look like a vigilant bodyguard with a weapon. The henchman eventually left after seeing Enzo and Michael standing in front of the hospital. Shortly after, police officers led by McCluskey arrived. Michael accused McCluskey of being paid off by Sollozzo, and he was punched, leaving a mark on his face. Clemenza and Tom Hagen arrived to rescue Michael. This marked the beginning of Michael's transformation from a good kid to a brutal figure. The next morning, Michael received news that Sonny had killed Bruno due to the hospital incident. Michael then devised a plan to kill Sollozzo and McCluskey by accepting their invitation and pretending to resolve their conflict. This was a risky assassination attempt that could jeopardize the credibility of Don Vito's family. But Michael had a brilliant idea to arrange their meeting. He instructed Clemenza to hide a gun at the meeting location and to prepare for the news of McCluskey's murder, who was, after all, a police officer and had indeed been paid by Sollozzo to be his personal bodyguard. Michael met with them at a restaurant, arriving unarmed. After chatting for a moment, he asked to use the restroom, where he retrieved a gun that Clemenza had hidden for him. Michael then killed Sollozzo and McCluskey in an act of revenge. Following the murders of Sollozzo and McCluskey, a war broke out among the Mafia bosses. This was depicted through media coverage, which even included Don Vito, who had returned home, becoming a subject of news. Sonny and Tom Hagen explained what had been happening, mentioning that they had sent Fredo to Las Vegas, and Hagen informed Don Vito that Michael was in hiding in Sicily. In Sicily, Michael met a woman who captured his heart. Her name was Apollonia. To win her over, Michael employed tactics familiar to him from his father, known as an offer you can't refuse. He negotiated with Apollonia, and eventually, he was able to marry her. Meanwhile, Sonny visited his sister Connie, who was pregnant, and noticed that her face was bruised. Naturally, Sonny was furious, but Connie insisted that he not hurt Carlo, her husband, because he was the one at fault. Sonny then found Carlo on the street and confronted him publicly. He warned Carlo that if he hurt Connie again, Sonny would not hesitate to kill him.
My sister again, I'll kill you.
Unfortunately, the situation escalated when Connie, after cooking dinner, received a phone call from a woman who intended to cancel her plans with Carlo. Connie, who shared her brother's fiery temperament, went into a rage, smashing household items. Carlo, enraged, insulted and hit Connie. When Sonny learned of this, he rushed to find Carlo. However, upon arriving at the toll booth, Sonny was ambushed by a group of men who shot him with a machine gun, resulting in a gruesome death. At this point, viewers likely assumed that the conflict among the Mafia would intensify. With a heavy heart, Tom Hagen delivered the bad news to Don Vito. Surprisingly, instead of seeking revenge for Sonny's death, Don Vito decided that there would be no investigation and no retaliation. He wanted a meeting with all the heads of the 5 Mafia families. Don Vito then met with Bonacera, who was Carmela's godson. Earlier in the film, Bonacera had come to Don Vito seeking justice for the crime committed against his daughter by her boyfriend, offering to pay Don Vito anything. At that time, Don Vito had not asked for anything, but now he was requesting a favor, to help arrange Sonny's funeral so that he could be buried with dignity. This moment became one of the most memorable scenes, revealing Don Vito's loving nature as he lamented, "They killed my son," while he sobbed. Meanwhile, Michael, who was still in Sicily, received the bad news. He was advised to change locations immediately. Michael instructed one of his bodyguards to prepare a car, and as he was getting ready to leave, Apollonia, his wife, got into the car and intended to drive. Tragically, Apollonia was killed. It turned out that one of his bodyguards had betrayed him and fled. This moment marked the birth of a new Michael, one who was fundamentally different from before, shaped by profound losses. At a meeting of the Mafia family heads, arranged with the help of Don Barzini, Don Vito decided to change his stance on the crystal flower business, acknowledging that all the problems had stemmed from his earlier rejection of Sollozzo's offer. They all agreed that the crystal flower business could proceed but must be controlled, ensuring that crystal flower would not be made available to children. Notably, Don Vito convinced the Tattaglia family not to hold grudges over the deaths of their children. In the beginning, Bruno Tattaglia had been killed by Sonny, and now Sonny had also fallen victim to the ongoing cycle of revenge. Once again, a powerful quote emerged from Don Vito. "Revenge will not bring my son or your son back."
Is vengeance gonna bring your son back to you? And my boy to me? Let forgo the vengeance of my son.
Don Vito emphasized his goal of achieving peace among all the Mafia families so that Michael could safely return to America. He also realized that the mastermind behind Sonny's death was not the Tattaglias, but Barzini.
But I didn't know until this day that it was Barzini all along.
Michael eventually returned to America, married Kay, and had 2 children. With Vito now ill and Fredo lacking strength, Michael became the only one capable of succeeding his father in the family business. He then restructured the Corleone family organization, making a surprising decision to choose Carlo, who had previously been Tom Hagen's right-hand man, as his new enforcer. For his advisor, Michael no longer needed Tom Hagen. Instead, he appointed his father, Vito, to be his advisor. Michael insisted that Tom Hagen move to Las Vegas, a decision that was approved by Don Vito. In Las Vegas, Michael met with Mo Green, a casino owner where his brother Fredo and Johnny Fontaine worked. Michael planned to forcefully buy and take over Mo Green's casino hotel. This was part of his strategy to relocate the Corleone family to Nevada. After a heated debate, Mo Green inadvertently mentioned his connection to Don Barzini, implying that Barzini could help him keep his casino hotel. Even more shocking was that Michael discovered that his brother Fredo was siding with another family rather than his own. In his final moments with his father, Vito advised Michael to be cautious of anyone arranging a meeting with Barzini, as that person was a traitor. In 1955, Vito passed away, a moment many considered the most memorable and heartbreaking for the audience, as they witnessed Vito Corleone's love for his family. He died while playing with his grandchild. During Vito Corleone's funeral, one of the Corleone family members planned to arrange a meeting with Barzini, which came as a huge surprise because no one expected that person to be Tessio, one of the captains in the Corleone family who had been very close to Vito. The meeting was scheduled to coincide with Connie's child's baptism, where Michael agreed to be the godfather. On the day of the baptism, as Michael stood at the altar to become his nephew's godfather, his hitmen were simultaneously executing all the Mafia bosses in New York City and New Jersey who were enemies of the Corleone family. Meanwhile, Michael confronted Carlo and revealed his secret. Carlo had been paid by Barzini to lure Sonny out by hurting Connie, forcing him to confess under an offer he couldn't refuse. Carlo was then killed in the car. Connie, in a fit of hysteria, rushed to Michael, accusing him of killing Carlo. She also informed Kay that Michael had ordered his men to carry out the murders of the Mafia leaders. At that moment, Kay felt somewhat relieved when Michael denied her accusations. However, when the family members arrived, Kay overheard them calling Michael Don Corleone, and she witnessed the police kissing Michael's hand, who had now become the new Don Michael Corleone. The door to the room then closed. And the movie ends. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.